Welcome to In This Season podcast, where we unpack the most empowering conversations, have exclusive and inspirational interviews, and host special events. Join Tammy, some call her Butterfly, and explore life's purpose by learning how to embrace each season of your life with confidence, strength, and purpose. Whether you're blooming in the spring, or shining in the summer, or embracing change in the fall, or gracefully hibernating in the winter, get ready to be inspired. Join us right here on this season of In This Season podcast with your host, The Butterfly. It's time, no matter what season it is.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Bonehead.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see
You too? Uh-oh, y'all. I didn't have to tell them. Let's feed the ducks.
you.
What's
Getting
going
out
on?
for y'all. Getting right. Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing out there today? Happy Saturday. As Miss Brenda
Yeah.
says.
Who's in with us?
Do you got your coffee? Have you faced God yet?
I have.
Sounds
I
like
did. I have. I will. I cannot go without it. So I have Bonehead. I did sleep in just a little bit longer, just a little bit. So I didn't get in as much as I'm getting used to now.
Mm-hmm.
But I got in, got what I needed, filled my cup so that my cup and my salsa will run over too. So I got it in. So today's going to be a kind of a cleaning day, the first part of the morning. I'm going to wash my hair and do some things, and I'm going to get out hopefully and come get the brat babies for a shoe run.
Okay.
Shoes.
Okay.
I'll let you forget.
Nah, she won't. I mean, I forgot, but I'm sure my wife did. So
Yeah, I meant to text last night and just remind her, but yeah, I talked to her about it, so she's aware.
awesome. Well, y'all, welcome. Y'all know me and my mother can't help but check in on some personal stuff, but we here for y'all today. So welcome to the 305th day?
Four.
304th day, 304 days of consecutive In This Season podcast where my mother and I have been going through this book, Daily Motivations for African American Success, reading through it, reading the passages every single day, the quotes, the affirmations, and trying to give you guys some insight on what we see and ask you guys as well some insights as to what this means, what's the context, how it applies to our everyday life. So if you haven't gotten that book by Dennis Kimbro, please go get that book. Again, it's Daily Motivations for African American Success by Dennis Kimbro. Please support this Black author. We don't make a dime from supporting him, and he doesn't make a dime from us reading this book or doing this for you guys. You know, of course, he'll make something from you purchasing the book. So that's our way of showing some type of support and some type of paying some type of homage to him about him making this book, writing this book, and just having the caring and compassionate spirit to put something out like this, right? Because this is a book for people that really want to help themselves, right? So I appreciate him. So please go support this Black author. He should be an older man now. So peace and blessings to him, and may God keep him well. If y'all find out, where he is or have any contact with him, please get Mr. Kimbro to let him know that we would love to have him on the show before we complete it. So
Brandon, before we get started,
yeah,
I got something. I know we kind of breezed through yesterday because of the internet, right? Our connection, which seems to be okay, thank God, right?
Yeah, we got it worked out.
So just briefly, God's part we cannot do. Our part he will not do. Quote yesterday. So I had this situation. I was at the kitchen table working, and it made me think about the quote in a degree, in a sense. So I was just pumping, print, type, getting it, telling it to print my computer. And I was like, what is wrong with this computer? It would not do. Because I didn't hear anything happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, I got the sense enough or wits about me to get up to come check on the computer. I'm on the printer. It wasn't turned on. And y'all know me. I'm at this phase in my life where everything seems to be, most things, I shouldn't say everything, a God moment. So I'm like, whoa, I get it. God, you be sending us stuff. You send us stuff. You tell us. But we're not turned on. We're not turned on. So I could sit there and hit print all day. I mean, I'm just printing. And when I finally turn it on, not thinking enough that to go back and cancel the print jobs because you've printed one page several times because you think something's wrong with the printing or whatever, but it's not turned on. So make that applicable to your life in the best way you can, because I sure did to mine. What areas am I not turned on so that I can't even hear God's programming, right? Where he's programmed me and he sends me things specifically for my computer, for me, right? Right. So that was a moment. It wasn't turned on, y'all. So I even thought about this book. Like if we were writing a book like this, the printer was not turned on. It was not turned on. So are you turned on this morning? That's what I'll ask you. As God send you things, are you turned on, tuned in, to what God is sending you? All right. So Brandon, I just had that little kooky moment.
Nah, it ain't kooky at all, man. Every moment is destined. So I appreciate you for following orders. A little bit more about this book before we jump into the passage for today. Daily Motivations for African American Success will help you focus on the thoughts, attitudes, and deeds that will lead to the achievement of your true goals. In 365 short, powerful motivations, one for each day of the year, Dennis Kimbro, author of the popular Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, leads us to discover how to use the present moment and our own gifts to transcend labels, cultivate a positive attitude, become wise enough to know when to say yes and when to say no, and to look inward for answers to life's challenges. Each motivation begins with words of wisdom from such distinguished and celebrated African Americans as Malcolm X, Marion Wright Elderman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Bill Cosby, Carl Rowan, Mother Hale, Reverend Leon Sullivan, and hundreds of others. So this treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh encouragement every day of the year. What it teaches will last you a lifetime. So today's passage is November 30, this Saturday, and our title is In Living Color. In Living Color. And Cornel West, the author and college professor and recent presidential independent candidate, Dr. Cornel West, said, he wasn't at this time, but now he's Dr. Cornel West, said different doesn't mean inferior. Different doesn't mean inferior. And In Living Color, how many of y'all used to watch that back in the 90s? In Living Color. And the passage is this. One of my favorite stories is about an earthworm who pops his head out of the soil and sees a beautiful earthworm just a few inches away. Overtaken by the other worm's beauty, he tells her, "I love you. Will you marry me?" The other worm smiles and answers, "Don't be silly. How can I marry you? I'm your other half." Like the earthworm, we are one. Behind our nationalities, colors, races, cultures, lifestyles, and histories, we are one. It is this unity, this common bond, that will be the hallmark of a new age. Mankind is now at a critical turning point. Our choice is the same as it has always been: unite or die. We must learn to cooperate. We must learn to accept. We must build our world on the foundation of togetherness, not separateness. The question is, how big can we expand our idea of us? How much can we widen our idea of who is equal to us? Who are we willing to take into our family? As frail, tiny egos, each of us once lived in a limited world, revolving around me. As our sense of self matured, we expanded to include our immediate family and our sense of quote unquote us. Everybody else was quote them. One thing was for sure, they quote unquote were different from us. And we had to watch out for them. As we grew and the world forced us to come into contact with them, experience revealed that some of them were really not so bad after all.
Mm-hmm.
Since humanity has now been shown to be one great family, the task before us is how quickly can we raise our consciousness to oneness? Oneness with all people. Now that we know we are one, the Creator expects us to live as one. And our affirmation for the day is today I will reach out in friendship to a family member, quote unquote, a family member of a different race or a different culture. Again, today I will reach out in friendship to a family member of a different race or a different culture. Over to you, Mom. In living color.
All right. I got to pull out the nest.
Handy dandy.
The nest. Did y'all remember the nest? All this nest we've been talking about? The nest changes things. So it says togetherness, right? We must build our world on the foundation of togetherness, not separateness. The question is, how big can you, it says we, how big can you expand your idea of us? And really, it depends on how far, how much you've expanded your reality, your perception of me, of you, right? Because as we say, y'all, we can't say this enough. It's how you do anything, is how you do everything. So how much can you expand? In reading or hearing the part, Brandon, about how it used to be, how we evolved from me, and then started to see others as separate based on culture or whatever. I remember the movie Same Kind of Different as Me. Did y'all watch that movie? Y'all remember Same Kind of Different as Me? No, Brandon, you didn't?
I remember that. Yeah.
An awesome movie where this family, mainly the wife, and I believe it was a true story. The wife had taken in, she worked at a homeless shelter and bought one of the homeless guys home with her. And initially it was a big thing, of course, with her family, with her husband. But in seeing that, the mending of different races, right? Culture, the way we do and see things, it's gotten to a point now that even within cultures, we started to separate and divide, and in families, based on many things. What you do, how you do it, where you live, right? So there's a sense of maybe inferiority, maybe, but I think there's a more ego going around in people now, right? In their lives that causes them, for example, when I was told, you're a good Black mom, like, why can't I just be a good mom? Why do we need something before that? Why do we need to title something before that? Right. And when this popped up on my feed yesterday, it was something that I had shared back in 2014. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did and it never will. Where justice is denied, where poverty is enforced, where ignorance prevails, and where any one class is made to feel that society is an organized conspiracy to oppress, rob, and degrade them, neither, right, persons nor property will be safe, right? And that's my guy, Frederick Douglass, who said, my body you can have, but never my mind. So we've lost sight of our very own color, with the inability to live in our very own color and living color. Are you living in your color? Like I said about the printer, is your printer turned on? Are you turned on? Right? Because again, how we do anything is how we do everything. And there is no us. There is no oneness between us until there is a complete me, or there is a me that is seeking oneness with myself. So then I see you as me. I am your sister. I'm not my brother's keeper. I'm my brother's sister. All my brothers, right? All colors. I remember the story, and I'll turn it over to you, Brandon, of this young boy, and I need to find this story. It was on the news where this young boy was out skateboarding, doing what kids do, not bothering anything. And police officer comes up on him. And the way that he talked to him and treated him, still to this day, disturbs my soul. And they were both white people. The young boy was a white young boy who that officer could have had an opportunity to have a good conversation. And I'm not saying by far that all cops are the same, because they're not. I remember me and some friends, middle of the night, girlfriends coming from somewhere, got stopped by the cop, and totally different. Actually, when he asked one of my girlfriends to get out and come to the car, I was like, she can't go up back there with you. There's nobody back there. He didn't get upset. Matter of fact, he said, you're right. And he talked to us like we were his daughters, even telling us to get home, right? Go home. So not all cops are the same. I say this to say, if you are only disturbed when it's someone who looks like you that is being wronged, then are you in living color? Because you become the oppressor. To me, that's just how I feel. Like if it only matters, right? And then in most cases, we will be disturbed by that, but we will turn around and treat somebody that looks like us just as wrong. May not be the same wrong thing you're doing, but just as wrong. So I like this one. I'm sure you'll pull out some other things. How quickly can we raise our consciousness? Y'all look that word up, consciousness. We talk about living from a subconscious mindset, world, everything. And truth be told, most of us are there, that you're on autopilot. Your body and your mind already knows what it's going to do. Your heart already knows how it's going to feel, because you're not doing the work. You're not turning that mirror inward. You're turning the mirror towards someone else so they can see their color, all the while not knowing yours. So it says, how quickly can we raise our consciousness? Live to raise your consciousness every day. Every day. Someone asked on Facebook, I saw, does anybody else feel the energy from people? Right? Absolutely. Absolutely. So raise our consciousness to oneness with all people. Oneness with all people, not just Black people with brown eyes, not just light-skinned Black people. You don't think that, stop thinking that light-skinned Black people are better than. And so as a result of that, you end up not liking them for no reason. It's like my cousin told me, you're okay. And I was like, what do you mean by that? Right? We just thought, as a kid, I'm a little girl, don't even know what the difference in color is, right? Don't even know what thinking better than someone is. I'm a kid. But I always felt like, I don't know, something's there. And in sharing that story on this show a while back, another cousin came forth and said, Cuz, I get it. I get it. And it was about that. So y'all see how things play with us. So don't deny who you are and how you feel. Get down to the root of it so we can all live in this color because God made us all. And perhaps that's the reason. Because how can we love God? You have this assumption. I see people, and I get it, y'all. I get it. But for me, we have people that will get in an argument about what color God is rather than who he is and the power of his oneness. I mean, I've seen this foolishness. Like he has to be the color of me. And so I got this thing. If you think he's black, when you get there, he gonna turn white just for you, right? To see. And he already knows what we would do, right? But think about that. How we think more about what color God is, how his hair is, rather than who he is, right? So over to you, Brandon. That's all I have, I think, unless you prompt me to say more.
Thank you, Mom. I appreciate it. And I'll start kind of where you left off. God doesn't have a color, right? The creator of the heavens and the earth is not a man, right? And we are. Let's take a step back. What you laughing at, Mom?
You.
Why? Why?
Nothing. I'm not going to share that one. Go. Keep going.
I already know. You think about yesterday.
Yes, I was. How
I
you
know.
know?
I know you, Mom. I can feel you.
All
I feel
right.
your energy.
Feel my energy.
I feel your energy.
Is it oneness
Um,
energy?
that's it. That's it, baby. That's it.
Okay.
So let's take a step back, y'all. If you remember, I don't remember, but in black and white, when you saw TV in black and white, there may be some of us that are old enough to remember black and white TV, or I mean, you could have just watched the old Andy Griffin show. I remember seeing that as a kid and being like, why is the TV not in color? And I was told, oh, this was TV back then didn't used to have color. At least not every channel had color. Or, some TVs had color, some didn't. So we used to me and my grandmother would sit and watch the Andy Griffin show and other shows. I Love Lucy. I think some of those were in black and white before they were put in color, a couple other shows. And I think Gilligan's Island was the first show showed in color, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody correct me on that. I believe you're on mute, by the way, Mom. But the difference, right, and how that changed things for people to now be able to see in color was tremendous. It was a huge draw. It was like the new iPhones coming out, right? And no one had seen them before. And let's just think about someone who's colorblind, who only sees. I actually have my brother-in-law is colorblind. He doesn't see full spectrums of colors. And this is no shot at him, but I can't imagine. And of course, he doesn't know the difference, but I could not imagine not knowing the difference between blue and purple. I can't imagine knowing the difference between purple and green. There's just so much beauty that has been bestowed in color on this earth, right? And the reasons aren't for us to say that this color is better than that color, right? Or this dark green is better than the light green of this tree, but rather so that we can know the differences and we can come to know each one by by the amount that God has given it, or how big it is, or how small it is, or how green it is. It's not meant as something to separate these two, but more so for us to get to know each one. And I think that same principle applies to human beings. We are different, right? As far as our physicality, right? Meaning how much melanin we have in our skin, whether our melanin is brown or whether our melanin is like yellow or red, right? There's 3 different types of melanin. But all of that is immaterial to who the human being is. All of that is immaterial to whether this is a righteous person, whether this is a trustworthy person, whether this person is truthful, whether this person is intelligent, whether this person is um, destructive or just or kind. None of that is determined on a basis of color. None of that is determined on a basis of their hair texture. None of that is on a basis of how tall they are, right? So imagine if you were trying to value how the worth of a person based on how tall they were. That seems so stupid, doesn't it? Who's the idiot here? The racist, the colorist, right? Or the person that's being oppressed? It's like telling someone, it's like coming on a boat from another continent, seeing people living in peace and relative peace, uh, killing them all, right? Destroying the land, killing all the buffalo, cutting down all the trees, poisoning the waters, and saying that they are the savages, that they are these uncivilized people. To be able to go to Africa and to steal or trade weapons for prisoners of war, and then to take them over as chattel slaves and to make them work and feel so hard until they would die, and that there was a big turnaround rate, having to go back and get more because so many would die, not only on the trip but also in the fields without breaks, working them until they died. Yet they are the uncivilized, right? What a trick! What a trick to be able to turn the offense and the oppression around, to be able to turn those words and to maneuver them in such a way to where your own savagery is based on what you call the lack of civilization in another person and another people. So when you see things in black and white, you really are transgressing not only them, but yourself. You're denying yourself the ability to see the world in living color. You're denying yourself the ability to see the full spectrum of what's available to you, of all the light that there is. If you read in any of our traditional uh, theological texts, whether it be the Bible or it be the Quran or the Gitas or whatever, light is seen as guidance. Light is seen as akin to the revelation of God. Light is seen as something that anoints people, right? As a depiction of who God has chosen as representative on this earth. It's looked at as, the morning. It's looked at as this bright new opportunity. But imagine, and outside of that, when it says, I might walk through the valley of the shadow of death, right? These shadows, these things where you're not able to see light, these are looked at as negatives. So don't deny yourself, don't transgress yourself, don't oppress yourself in seeing other people as different from you. You may be cutting off certain aspects that could have benefited you. You may be cutting off the best friend you ever had. You might be cutting off some beneficial knowledge. You might be cutting off an experience that you could have had that would have changed your life or made your life better, all because you saw others as different from you, because you didn't see them as valuable as you, or you saw just the fact that they were a different race, a different shade. They might even be from your same family, as my mother was saying. The same family. Y'all got the same grandparents. Y'all got the same great grandparents. But somehow you see them as different than you. Somehow you see them as competition. Somehow you see them as competition as opposed to a teammate. You guys have eaten from the same plate, bathed in the same tubs, right? Told the same grandmothers you love them, right? Sat at the same tables, the same family reunions. Yes, that person has been infected so much. We have been infected so much by colorism, by racism, that we see each other as different. Who benefits from this? Certainly, it's not the families. Certainly, it's not our sweet old grandmothers who was cooking food for both you light skinned and dark skinned black folk. Certainly, no one benefits except for who? The people seeking to conquer you, those seeking to exploit you, those seeking to employ you to a degree to where they can profit off of your labor and give you a fraction of what it was worth to their business, right? Because it is this enmity, it is this it's this skepticism on people that not only don't look like us, but it's the skepticism of ourselves, right? Our own skepticism on what our value is that makes us insecure enough to believe that color or hair or shade is material to any particular thing, that it actually impacts anything. It doesn't. It's just a methodology to keep people separated. Prior to the transatlantic slave trade, people did not look all the world over. People did not look at each other and grade each other based on their whiteness or their blackness. This was not even seen as a determining factor. It was only made such so that people could be exploited. So anytime you subscribe to, oh well, that's a Chinese person, so we're gonna do this. That's a China man, right? Which is actually, people say that in the South. That's actually a derogatory term, right? Or you say that's every person that looks Hispanic is Mexican. No, there's so many different people and you would not know this. You wouldn't know the difference between a Guatemalan, a Hondureño, a Cubano. You wouldn't know the difference between a Mexicano. You wouldn't know the difference between someone from Costa Rica versus someone from Colombia, because you wouldn't know the richness of their culture, the diversity of their foods, the difference between, frijoles con queso in Mexico versus the frijoles that they do in Cuba, the difference between the pinto and the black. You wouldn't know these differences. You're not even eating the best food because you think that Mexican food is Taco Bell. Right? And it's not. And I'm not saying Taco Bell ain't busting sometimes, but what I'm saying is you're limiting yourself to just a fraction of the spectrum of light. You might not be living in color. You might be living in black and white. You might be living in a gray scale. You might be living in such a way to where when the sun comes up, it looks gray. It doesn't look bright yellow. It doesn't look, you can't see the difference in the sun when it goes across the horizon and it turns orange because of light refraction. You can't see all the colors, right? Because you're blinded. You're blinded by your own self-hate. Because truly, if you're able to be racist against someone else, it's not because the core of it isn't a hate for them. It's an insecurity of your own worth, meaning that I feel so insecure about the value of myself that I think that something as immaterial as color has the power to subvert me, has the power to take away something from my quote unquote people. When you don't realize that every human being in this earth is 99.999% the same genetically. We've got over 3.5 billion genes that make up a human being. 3.5 billion. So the difference between you and me being less than 1% of those 3.5 billion is just a handful of genes, right? That change your hair color, that change your nose shape, that change your height. Do you know that you can have a person that's the Barack Obamas of the world. You can have somebody that's half white, quote unquote white. There is truly no such thing as white. There is truly no such thing as black. But you have somebody that's considered 50% white, 50% black. They're impregnated by someone who is also 50% white and 50% black. Do you know that the woman can have twins where one child is 100% black and the other child is 100% white? How stupid would one of those children be to say, oh, I'm better than you because I'm black and you're white. I'm better than you because I'm white and you're black. When y'all came out of the same wound, right? Y'all came out of the same womb and rode on the same shaft to get there. So listen, guys, it does not matter. It does not matter. Don't allow these things to divide you. This is just a tactic of the devil. This is it. This is it. This is his own jealousy of in mankind for the creation of mankind. Him trying to prove that we are ingrates, that we are not worth salvation, that we are not worth the guidance that God has given us, that we are not worth being placed as stewards of this earth, as rulers over this earth, as khalifa, as they say, as guardians over this earth, that we don't deserve it, by infecting us with the same contempt, the same racism that he has in himself. So just know that when you are being racist, when you are being colorist, you are literally taking on the tradition of Satan. You are literally taking on the tradition, because he thinks he's better than you just based on what you are made of, just based that you are a different creation that God made as opposed to him, that this should be his place in his realm, and he should be the one to rule and not you, not human beings, not the natural order of things, right? He has contempt for you. Don't share that same contempt by dividing the human family. We all come from one man and one woman. And this is not only theologically, this is not just based on theology. This is also based in science. This is based in genetics. This is based in biology, that we all come from two human beings. Two. The genetic Adam and the genetic Eve, to where every single human being on this earth comes from two different people. So we are all what they say Bini Adam, or sons of Adam and daughters of Adam. We all in our lineage have a king in our lineage. We all in our lineage have a slave in our lineage, right? We all in our lineage have a prophet in our lineage. Even if it goes all the way back to Noah, to Adam, we all have these within our blood. So who are we to differentiate? The same way it would be infantile for that child inside of the womb to think that I am so much better or different than my brother or sister who shared the womb with me. So too are people who see others who might look differently than them, to see them as worth less. They have the same stupidity. We come from the same earth, out of the same dirt. We were created from the same material that is beneath our feet, and ashes to ashes, dust to dust. To the earth we will return, as far as our physical bodies. But there's something greater than that, that will transcend this life. And with that, we must consider, am I just my body? If you thought that you're better because of your race or your color, well, what happens when you die? When you don't take this body with you? Do you think you're going to be black in heaven? Do you think you're going to be Chinese in heaven? Do you think that's going to matter? Do you think anybody cares at that point? Or were you banking the entirety of your character, of your personality, of your values, and of your principles based on something that will perish? What will you have on the day of judgment? What will you have on the day that angel comes to take your soul away? Will your soul try to hold tight to that body because it's so attached to its whiteness, to its brightness, to its darkness, to its full lips, to its wide hips, to it? What are you attached to? Are you attached to certain parts of yourself that God could so easily take away? You think you love your color? You could easily catch vitiligo, and God can take that away from you. All this sight, you see so much difference between the black and white. God could easily take away your eyesight and make you blind to it all. And you would wish you could see that black face again. You would wish you could see that white person again at the bank. You would wish you could see anything in living color. So don't take what we have in our senses for granted. It doesn't make sense. Use your senses to glorify God. Use your senses to bring people together. Use your senses to get to know one another, because that is the only reason that we have been created in such difference, right? Really, the differences are so small. If you knew what it took, just the fractions of differences in our genes to make one person black versus another person brown or white or yellow, as we consider, These are you would be taken back because you would see just how small that it is. And truly, these were just devices to divide us, right? Truly, because now you're not you're not the white man or the Irish man is no longer Irish, right? The guy from Wales or the guy from Germany is no longer German. He's white. And the guy from Angola or the guy from Botswana or the guy from Nigeria or Mali is no longer, you know, connected to that rich culture, right? He's now just black. Just so to even think of ourselves in these color designations limits us in our human experience, disconnect us from the roots of our ancestors, right? And it also provides a glass ceiling on just how much we can grow as a human being. Okay, so don't be disconnected from your roots so that you can be so easily moved, right? And that you can't grow new branches to your own tree. You can't do this living in black and white. You can't do this living in shades of gray. You can only do this in living color. Because even if you amassed all the money in the world, there's no peace in the heart of a person that's racist. There's no peace. There's no peace. Even if it looks like ease on the outside, the racist person is just as tormented as the person he tries to oppress. And look at it this way: the children of the people that were racist in these pictures, for example, where you see black bodies hanging from trees, right? And you see people all around, right? White people all around with their children at a picnic. This is why they would call them picnics. They would pick a nigga and then hang them, and they would even cut off parts of the person, their toes, their teeth, their hands, and set them up on their fire mantles and hang them up in walls like they were deer or buffalo, right? They would take these souvenirs of human bodies, and you could look around and you could see the pictures of the children, and the children are smiling along with their father, and some are looking like, I don't know, you can tell this is maybe their first experience, whereas some of the other children a little older, this may not be their first experience. But think about this: how traumatized not only are the families that lost someone who is now hanging in a tree and their body is and being dismembered, but also there's a trauma on the white people. There's a trauma on the racist, on the children, because their hearts are now corrupted. Their hearts are now corrupted. There's no peace that can come from that. That's a trauma that they're going to have to grow out of that they may not have even realized that they have. There is a burden. You have to, as much as black people and brown people, we need to be freed from mentally from ourselves from saying that I am this or I am that. It's just as much as we need to be freed from the what the back of the book say, the fortunes of quote unquote race. So do white people. They need to be freed from that. They're oppressing. They are oppressed as well. Their hearts are oppressed. Their minds are oppressed. They aren't living a true life if they are racist. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, Arab, African. If you see that you are, if you see yourself as being somehow worth more than the next person, Jewish, Zionist, especially, Lord have mercy. If you are willing to kill over 20,000 babies and think that they deserve it because of their race, you are a damn devil. And you are not only that, but you are oppressing yourself. You are possessed. Okay. So if you want to live truly, if you want to live abundantly, if you want to live a purpose driven life, then follow the guidance and know that the black is no better than the white. The Jew is no better than the Arab. The Christian, right, who sees themselves their Christianity as whiteness, that Jesus has to be white. The Christian that sees that their Jesus has to be black with locks. The Christian, that sees that it has to be the specific skin tone. Are you really Christian, or are you racist? Because if you look around the world, it seems that everyone makes God, right? They make a depiction of God or of some prophet or something like that to look like them.
Mhm.
right? If you go to China, he's Chinese. If you go to Japan, he's Japanese. If you go to, but if you read our text, if you read, let's just keep it in the traditions of the Abrahamic faith, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. It says, make no carved or graven images, make no depictions of God or the prophets, right? And here we are wearing the image of a man on a cross on necks. Here we are carving out pictures and stained glass windows depicting saints and disciples and all these things. No one's following their creed, or few, I would say, in that realm are following their creed. No graven images, for the pure fact that it supports an idea, or it could be misinterpreted, an idea of supremacy based on the ethnicity, the color, the look, whether it be curly hair. Oh, the prophet had curly hair like me. I'm better than you. We are quick to puff each other up based on the likeness we have to those who we see as great. And really, we did nothing to deserve those. So it's not built on security, it's built on insecurity. And we know it. If you are racist, if you think because you have these clothes that you're better now, you know, your spirit knows at the end of the day that you're no better than the next person. So you have to go spend this extra money in order to put on these clothes, right? That's why when someone
Feel
steps
the
on it,
same.
you're ready to kill them. That's
Mm-hmm.
why when it rips, you're pissed off and it's messed up your whole day because you ain't wearing the clothes are wearing you, and they are wearing you out. Okay, so see life in living color, and like the people, the Mayans say, in la catch, I am another you, and you are another me. What I do to you, I do to myself. Right? It says in the Quran, I think it's Al-Baqarah, the second chapter. It says that if you were to kill a person, it is as if you killed the entire world. And if you save a life, if you kill an innocent person, it's as if you killed the entire world. And if you save an innocent life, if you save a life, it is if you save the entire world. It didn't say save a black man, a white man, or this. It says a man, an innocent person, right? So God sees us all the same. The same God that created you created me. He didn't create us in this stratification of who's better or who's worse or who's chosen. All of that is a lie created by men to elevate some of them in status above others. Don't fall for it and don't become a victim of it and don't perpetuate it. This would be better for not only your life experience, it would be better for your heart, better for your spirit, and better for your soul. When you meet your Lord, you need to take a pure heart to him. And a pure heart does not have enmity or contempt for someone based on an immaterial thing like their race, like their color, like their hair texture. These are things of the devil. So if you're cool with being in the likeness of the devil, then go ahead. Be the devil that you are. Chase those devils. Be like those devils. You keep chasing them, they will lead you right to hell. Okay? But if you want a peaceful life, a purpose-driven life, if you want happiness, contentment, mercy, gratitude, if you want a fullness of life and heart, then see the next person as you see yourself. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Do unto others as you would want others to do unto you. Not do unto your folk as you would want your folk to do unto you. This applies to all people. There is but one human family, and that is the human family. Over to you, Mom.
All right, so Brandon, I will be quick here. I will try to be. So, a couple of things, y'all. Same kind of different as me. Watch that movie. Same kind of different as me. I think it is, but it may be the same kind of different. And The Shack. Watch those movies. It makes me think about, Brandon, what you say, especially The Shack. I am as my servant sees me. Right. So if you've not watched those two movies and you have some spare time, that's another thing, y'all. We need to be mindful of what we watch, what we allow our eyes to see,
Man, what?
what our ears to hear. I'm becoming so intentional about that because it gets into you. And another one, Beth Moore Bible Study. I remember taking that at the Life Church. And I remember sitting there, and I've shared this with you guys before, but some of you may not have been on and heard it. I remember sitting there thinking, wow, because it was mostly white women,
Mm-hmm.
maybe two women include myself. I think it was another Black lady there. And I remember thinking, wow, because I had a perception of that they had the picket white fence, the great husband, the great family, the great children, no problems. They seemed to have it easy. And man, I remember sitting there thinking, whoa, my life is not so bad after all, right? They go through the same emotional roller coaster, if not worse. But see, it started from a place. I had to start from a place of thinking that they were better than, right? So you just have to keep it real with yourself. And it says here in this book, mankind is now, on this passage today, mankind is now at a critical turning point. Y'all, this was in 1994. And that critical turning point is our choice is the same as it has always been. Unite or die. Right? Unite or die. And if truth be told, we are dying, if not dead. Right? I'm also, Brandon, you reminded me, this was just a few weeks ago. A lady asked me who does my eyebrows. And it just so happened I had gone. I would go maybe once a year and get my eyebrows done, right? And I told her, and the first thing out of her mouth, I said, the lady right down, I was at Walmart in Bartlett. And I went there because I saw her. She used to live where I worked at the apartments. And I was like, oh, I didn't know you did this. So I went and just supported her, right? And she said, oh, no. The lady that I told, she said, oh, no. I don't let them I don't let them touch me. I don't let them do my eyebrows. And I was like, what? She's a lady. She's human. And the lady, I don't know her race. I don't know, her what she identifies herself as. But to me, she did eyebrows. It didn't concern me where she was from or what she did. She had a sweet, sweet spirit. Now, what would have concerned me if you got an ass spirit? No, I don't want you to touch me. I don't. But it's interesting how we sometimes, as Black people, we become the very same people that succumbed us, right? We become those very same people without even thinking. So you made me also think about that, Brandon. Frederick Douglass says you can't have my mind. You can have my body, but you cannot have my mind. And if you don't allow someone to have your mind, they don't have your body. They don't have your body, y'all. So it's time to get right, because if we don't, we will continue in death. And Brandon, I'll end with this. We didn't get to read this part of this book, but as you were talking, I was kind of skimming through it a little bit. I won't read all of it. I'm going to start kind of in the middle. It's the first page of the book. And mind you, y'all, this was in 1994. It is 2024. In fact, it says November 1994 for the publication of this book. We're at the end of November in 2024. Right? So it says, beware of the naked man who offers you his shirt. Y'all hear that? Beware of the naked man who offers you his shirt. And the man who swims with the sharks without being eaten alive. That's deep, y'all. That's deep. And it says, Think and Grow Rich, a Black choice, is the perfect updating of a classic, a must-read for Black America. Kimbro and Hill have created a sensible and powerful guide to getting ahead that will long stand as a guide, not only to reaching, but also explaining success. This book should be a required reading for all African Americans truly committed to the pursuit of happiness. There's that ness. And fulfillment. And that is by Black Enterprise. It also says, by combining ideas for achievement with his own innate wisdom, Dennis Kimbro has in fact redefined success not just for Black America, but for anyone lucky enough to read a copy of this book. It will long stand as the definitive guide for anyone in search of that success, right? From the very first page, November 1994, and we're at the end, the very end, November 2024. And we have just a few more minutes, Brandon. I have to do this. Okay, just a minute, y'all. Bear with us. A suffix ness means state, condition, or quality of being, essentially transforming an adjective into a noun by indicating the quality or state described by the adjective. For example, happy becomes happiness when adding ness to it, signifying the state of being happy. So that ness defines your state. Are you in the living color? Are you my kind of person? Are you your kind of person? The state of being, whatever it is. Because as I just read, Americans, this book should be a required reading for all of African Americans who truly are committed to the pursuit of happiness, a state of being. Because you can't be in North Carolina and South Carolina at the same time. You cannot. You cannot be over here and be over there at the same time. What is your state of being where you are? Is the printer turned on? And lastly, I'm going to read this quickly. I'm going to start. I am here to introduce you to a method of solving them. In my bag here, I have a foolproof method for controlling your Black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that if installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. My method is simple. Any member of your family or your overseer can use it. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves. And I take these differences and make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. The methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. Take this simple little list of differences and think about them. On top of my list is age, but it's there only because it starts with an A. The second is color or shade. We're talking about in living color today. There is intelligence, size, sex, sizes of plantations. Like imagine the size of the plantation you own as a slave became to matter. Status on the plantation, where they mostly had the light-skinned people to be able to come in the house with them and stay and have more, eat better a little bit, right? Setting the tone for the differences in the color. And then there's attitude of the owners, whether the slaves live in the valley, as I just mentioned, on a hill, east, west, north, south, whether they have fine hair, coarse hair, or is tall or short. Now that you have the list of differences, I shall give you an outline of action. But before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. The Black slaves, after receiving this introduction, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. Don't forget, you must pitch the old Black male versus the young Black male. The young Black male against the old Black male. You must use the dark-skinned slaves, the light-skinned slaves, and the light-skinned slaves against the very dark-skinned slaves. You must use female against the male and male against the female, right? And I won't go on, y'all, but that is enough. Because if you've never heard this and you don't know where I'm reading from, you should be ashamed, number one. Number two, you should want to know, what did you just read? And so people, I'm going to say it, are so ignorant to when you read it, they say, that ain't true. It was made up. But not being able to see that it's happening around us. It has happened. We've been controlled. We gave them our mind, unlike Frederick Douglass, who was so inspired to live out his purpose and his value that he sat up in the midnight hour after working all day as a slave. I will learn how to read. I will take this chance on being whipped because there's no plan B. I will learn how to read. I will master my mind. I will not get caught up in being a dark-skinned brother, although he has my slave owners have my white or light-skinned brothers in the house, eating a little better, living a little better, right? Most of you will not admit that white people, you feel inferior to them. Your light-skinned sister or brother, that's why we get, you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl. How many black people have said that to people in your family or someone on the street? And then I'll turn around and think just because my little color is creamer, then that I'm more beautiful. What makes me beautiful is what is inside of me, what I have tapped into, the light of God. Because this is nothingness. As my cousin said, one of his employees said to him as he was having a conversation with her about her performance, this is nothingness. There's that ness. It wasn't her state of being. So I ask you today, we're talking about in living color, but what is your ness in that color? What's your state of being in that color? Right? Do you see me as you see yourself? And how is that? Brandon, I could go on this one, but I'm
I
leaving
see. We gotta go, y'all. We gotta listen, y'all. We gotta keep these down to 30 to 45 minutes if we can. We over an hour. I ain't
30
gonna be
minutes
here all
himself.
day with y'all. I ain't gonna be all
Y'all,
day
who
with
talked the most? He got the thing and ran 4 or 5 laps around the field.
Nah, I had like
you said it.
15, 20 minutes. I'm done. Nah, I'm just playing. Y'all, thank y'all so much. I'm messing with Mama and me. You see where I get it from. Apple don't fall
I'm
far from the
passionate
tree.
about this. I'm sorry. I ain't
It's
sorry.
cool. It's cool. It's cool.
Because if they wasn't here, they'd just be watching some foolishness on TV.
I know. I'm gonna start leaving y'all at 35 minutes. No, I'm just playing. We're gonna see.
We can't do
I
it.
love y'all. I love y'all. I bet. We're gonna see. All right, y'all. I love y'all so much. Y'all got it. Y'all got everything y'all need for today. Don't see it. See life in living color, not in dying color. In living color is our title for today. And different doesn't mean inferior, according to Dr. Cornel West. And our affirmation for the day that we will leave you with, and we promise you, we're about to leave out of here, is today, I will reach out in friendship to a family member, keyword family member, of a different race or a different culture. Now, this don't mean you call up and be like, we got anybody white in our family? No, this means go out to your neighbor and tell them, reach out to them in friendship. But all right, y'all, we love you. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Peace.
Wait, Brandon, I got one more thing. I'm joking. Hey, but wait.
Wait. I'm done with you. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
Come on, Brandon. Come on. Let's take it out. Take it out.
I'm out.
Here we go. I'm out. Come on.
I can't hear the music. There you go. All right, cool.
All right. As we go out. There we go. All right. Peace, y'all. We love you.
That's all she wanted, y'all. That's all she wanted.